that inner knowing that you're meant to do this. Don't let other people tell you that you're doing it wrong or that it's not a good idea. Because if you know that it's a good idea, you feel it in your bones, it's a good idea and stick with it. I live in a world where I'm the only entrepreneur in my family for like miles and miles. We're talking spanning the continent here. I'm the only entrepreneur. They're all doctors and some lawyers and other things. And I had to believe in myself and my idea. So that, and also share your voice, share your stories, because those stories are what are going to endear you to people. And that's how you grow.
Welcome to A Founder's Life. I'm your host, Leo Gestetner. On this show, we dive into the real stories behind the highs and lows of entrepreneurship and how we pursue a more balanced and meaningful life along the way. This podcast is sponsored by Thankz, helping founders like us scale with reliable remote talent. Email founders@thankz.com, that's THANKZ.com, with the subject line, A Founder's Life, and you'll receive $1,000 off your first month. Now, I'm excited today to be joined by Melanie Herschorn. Melanie, thank you for joining. Please kick off things by introducing yourself to our audience.
I'm so excited to be here, Leo. I am a publisher and an author. My whole mission is to help professionals. I work with attorneys, business owners, wealth advisors, take their expertise, take it out of their head and put it into a book that we then publish under their imprint and promote for them, so that not only are they an expert in a particular field, but they can say, I'm an expert and I wrote the book on it.
I love that. Someone showed me an AI tool recently that can look at all of someone's writing and podcasts, and if they've got a course, it'll look through their course, and it actually becomes their voice for their audience, and it is talking in their voice. Quite an interesting one. But talk to us a little more about the journey that brought you from where you were to where you are today. And then again, just a little more about how you're helping people put their voice into practice.
Well, one fun thing about being an entrepreneur is your life is never linear. Your story is never linear. And so I feel at home to explain that. I started out in celebrity PR in Hollywood. And after being told off by a famous comedian on my birthday twice, I said, that's it. I'm done. I got to do something else. And so not immediately, but very soon after, I went to graduate school and I got a master's in journalism. And then I moved from LA to the middle of Pennsylvania, and I worked at their NPR affiliate. I was an afternoon news anchor and reporter on the radio. And when I decided, I was married, I want to have a child. And so I planned to have a baby in a non-election year. And I got laid off when I was 5 months pregnant. So then I went, great, I'm unemployed and unemployable. What now? And I ended up freelancing at their local newspaper for a year. But then we moved to Arizona, where I have been for the past 13 years. And when I got here, I said, well, I could pay a babysitter more money than I'll make as a journalist, or I could do something completely different. And that's when I decided to manufacture and design breastfeeding clothing. So I went left. And I became an entrepreneur and I guess a clothing designer. Sold the clothes on Nordstrom.com, Amazon, boutiques across North America. And then in the 7th year of business, I made a bad hire. And I brought this woman on to help me with my marketing. And what ended up happening was she belittled me every single day until I was a shadow of myself. And I couldn't even open my home office without getting a sinking feeling in my stomach. So then I closed the business and thought, what now? And I looked at the through line of my career, and it had always been taking people's voices and helping them elevate them in some way. Even with the breastfeeding clothing, I was taking somebody in the 4th trimester, as they call it now. It's not a great time of your life. And I was just trying to make it better. So I thought, well, I could help people with their marketing and help them share their voice with the world. And so I said, well, I'm a marketer now. And authors started calling out of the blue and saying, hey, can you help me with my book marketing? And I said, sure, I can do that. And then it started to grow from there. And I started to feel that, the books that people were coming to me with could have been a whole lot better. I'm an author myself, and I realized, well, I could help people do that too. So I've developed this system, this program, so that when busy professionals want to write a book, but they don't want to hire a ghostwriter to just go off and handle it. They want to really have ownership of the book. They can speak the book out to me in an hour a week, and we take what they've said, turn it into a manuscript, and then publish it for them, and then market it for them as well. And, it really preserves the integrity of their expertise, because I'm a journalist. I ask questions. And I ask leading questions, and I get the story out of it.
Oh, I love that methodology to put their thoughts into words. And talk to us a bit about what family means to you.
I'm so glad you asked me that. This morning, I was dropping my kids off at school, and my daughter was saying, so-and-so has a Halloween costume already. And I know that I need to get it, but I know you're busy, Mom. Can you help me? And I said, well, you know what? That person's parent has a lot more time than I do. But if you take my phone when it's sitting around and you go on Amazon and you put something in the cart, I promise I will buy it for you. And she said, what's the budget? I said, no budget. So family is everything to me. Getting to be able to drop my children off at school and pick them up from school every single day and hear about their day and get to be mom, but also get to show them that you can have an idea and bring it to fruition and make it scalable. I just love spending time with my family. I also love my business. And I know that's not what you asked, but it's true. I don't know. I mean, my grandma just passed away at 100.5, and she waited for me to die. She lived in Montreal. It's weird to say it in past tense because, I've had my grandma. I'm 46 and I've had my grandma my whole life. She lived in Montreal, and so I'm here in Arizona. And so I didn't get to see her that often, but we were going to be in Canada this past summer, made a point of going to see her. I saw her 2 days in a row, and then on the third day, she passed away. But I know that she waited for me, and she showed me the value of family, how important being there for your family is. And so I like to sort of operate in her value system and putting my children, my husband first. I mean, not to the detriment of myself, but they're so important. So I try to keep in touch with all my family members.
Lovely. That's impressive to be over 100. Never had any that have quite made it that far. Close, but never made it quite that far. And talk to us about what health means for you, whether that be physical health, mental health, nutrition. What's health look like for you?
Health is, it's both, right? You have your physical body, but you also have your mental health, and those two have to work in tandem. Otherwise, you're going to be lopsided. So you can be buff and in great shape, but if you're miserable on the inside, what good is that? And if you're really working on your inner self and you're really trying to grow as a person, and yet you feel really disgusting in your body, that's not a great place either. So I try to do both by working on my inner self at all times and growing as a person. But I've also started walking on my treadmill as often as I can and being really more mindful about how I eat. And I'm happy to say I just dropped 15 pounds in a year, and I'm keeping it off, and it makes me really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm a big believer in health span. I think all those things help with health span. I don't have a need to live to 125 or 150. But I do want to be healthy until I die. And that, to me, I don't want that slow decline. And that's why those kind of things, losing weight, being healthy, all to me contributes to that. And what do you like to do for fun?
Oh, I take singing lessons, and I sing, and it's really fun, and I love it. Unfortunately, I didn't do it yesterday because I was just too exhausted. But generally speaking, I sing show tunes. I've been doing a lot of Carole King, and I don't actually perform for anybody. It's just for me. Because it was this desire when I was little. I always wanted to be able to sing with vibrato. And so I started taking singing lessons when I was 39. And I am proud to say that I can now sing pretty well. And I promise I will not demonstrate right now.
Wow. That is not a skill I have.
You have plenty of others.
Love that you have a... Yeah, definitely not musical. My family are just not musical. I'm sorry to say neither of my kids are particularly musical either. Playing, singing, I mean, they're both very skilled in their own way. Music is... Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're better than me, but they're still not going to make their career from music or from sports.
Yeah, no.
At least they know that up front. They knew that at an early age, that they had to get a good education, work out what they were going to do, because they weren't going to make much money from sports either. And How do you lead a balanced life? And again, I look at that as that sort of center line of balance, overall balance.
Parameters in my schedule. I have between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to work. That's when I'm alone with a dog and a cat. And I make sure that I am not constantly working because I need to be with my family and just for my own mental health. In order to really keep that balance, I don't let one bleed into the other. And when I'm with my family, I am with them. I'm not addicted to my phone. I don't know how I guess I just don't have really an addictive personality. And I lose my phone every single day. I put it down and I have zero idea where I put it. And then I'm looking, oh, I lost my phone again. Can somebody help me find it? And then I have like a boatload of texts and phone calls I've missed. So I'm present with my family when I am with them. And I think that that really helps.
Definitely. I think presence is the key to it all. I think you're 100% right. And what has been a pivotal moment in your life?
Gosh. Well, I already shared a few, but I think a significantly pivotal moment for me, I'll share a story. So when I started out as an entrepreneur, I was doing all the things. I joined a networking group here and I was attending, and then I was invited to attend this event. So I went to the event and I'm meeting some of the people who had booths who were sort of hawking their businesses, so to speak. And I was talking to this woman and she says to me, well, some people help with the physical part of the entrepreneur. Some people help with their, I guess like the business strategy. And I help with the spiritual part of the entrepreneur. And I smiled and I walked away and I snickered. And I was like, what the heck is this woman talking about? She is bananas, right? So here I am with my tail between my legs, because I found the spiritual side of this entrepreneur. And that has really helped me evolve as a person and as a business owner. And I think that once I finally opened up the door to it, it has changed everything for me.
I love that. And I'm not going to say my family is the most spiritual in the traditional sense of spiritual. Yeah, they might be religious, they might be, but we might think of spiritual. And one person who is in particular was saying, yeah, I mean, to me, I may or may not believe, or more to the point, understand everything, but I do believe anything is possible. And I've seen some pretty remarkable things I would not even begin to try and explain because I haven't got a clue, but anything is possible. That I do believe.
I absolutely believe that. And when I've shared with my very traditional family, I get sort of pat on the head. That's nice for you. I'm happy for you. But it isn't about them. It's about us as individuals. So can't force your opinions on other people, nor should you try.
And to be honest, people having different opinions is what makes the world fun.
Yes.
I mean, if we all thought exactly the same, it would be really boring. So what's one piece of advice you could give to an aspiring entrepreneur?
Okay. That inner knowing that you're meant to do this. Don't let other people tell you that you're doing it wrong or that it's not a good idea. Because if you know that it's a good idea, you feel it in your bones, it's a good idea and stick with it. I live in a world where I'm the only entrepreneur in my family for like miles and miles. We're talking spanning the continent here. I'm the only entrepreneur. They're all doctors and some lawyers and other things. And I had to believe in myself and my idea. So that, and also share your voice, share your stories, because those stories are what are going to endear you to people. And that's how you grow.
Excellent. And how can people find you?
Well, I'm everywhere on the internet. But also, if you want to check out, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, Big Impact Books. That's the name of my company. And if you say, I have an idea for a book, but I don't know if it's a good book or whatever, I'm happy to chat. You can just go to my calendar. It's meetmelanie.vip and we can chat.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and please leave a review.